Today on Homeschoolers Explore, I'm going to show you ways to find the Ohio Learning Standards and the Common Core standards. The first way I'm going to show you is on your computer. We're going to go to the ODE website, or the Ohio Department of Education website, to show you how to find them. Then I'm going to show you how to download apps onto your smartphone to help you locate those standards very quickly. So if you're probably wondering, what is Ohio standards or what are the Ohio Common Core standards? Well, they're kind of the same thing. They're pretty much the same thing. They're lessons or instructions that you can follow to make sure that you're on track, you know what you need to be teaching next, and to also know if your student or your child is on the right path to the next grade or on the way to graduation. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to locate them on the computer.
So the first way I'm going to show you how to find the Ohio Learning Standards is on ODE's website. And ODE stands for Ohio Department of Education. So to get there, you could type it up at the top on your search bar, or you can just go to Google and you type in ODE, or Ohio Department of Education, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. You're going to click it, and it's going to take you to their website. And this is all about education. Everything you need to know is on this website. So to get to the standards, you're going to touch teachers, and there'll be all these little links for teachers. There's also a tab for parents. But we're going to the teachers, and we're going to Ohio Learning Standards, which is going to bring you to this page, which tells you all about the standards. So Ohio Learning Standards identify what students need to know and be able to do. So that is the red. So you're going to come to the middle and you're going to click it. And it's going to bring up all of the standards you need from kindergarten to 8th grade. Then when you get into the higher levels where it's not in a grade, it's kind of a class or a lesson. You have your English language arts, financial literacy, fine arts, health education, mathematics, physical education, all the way to extended standards. So identify what a student should know and be able to do. So learning standards explain the knowledge and the skills Ohio students in pre through kindergarten through grades 12 need to have. Ohio Learning Standards emphasize skills like critical thinking and problem solving, qualities most sought by today's employers. By teaching our students to apply these skills to what they are learning in school, we can make sure they are on track to graduate from high school and enjoy success in college, careers, and life. Ohio measures the performance of its schools based on how well students are progressing in gaining the knowledge and skills within the learning standards. We do this partly by measuring students' performance on annual state tests based on standards. So a really basic thing of why we have standards is it keeps you on track of what your child or your student needs to know. So if you come to kindergarten, as you go through each one, you know what you need to be teaching your child or your student. You can check them off. It also keeps you in order, and it also lets you know what you need to prepare and teach next. These are also go all the way up to 8th grade, and the kindergarten standards and 8th grader standards are going to be completely different. So these are the standards on the ODE website. Now I'm going to show you 2 apps that you can get on your smartphone that are a lot easier to follow along and understand of what you need to do next. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to get the standards on your smartphone. So our screen right now and the phone we're using is an Android, but you can also use an iPhone. So you just have to go to your given store. So for an iPhone, it's the Apple Store, and for the Android, it's the Play Store. So you go there and you'll type in Ohio Standards for this little guy, which is a yellow with the Ohio on it. Or you can type in Common Core, and it's green and it has these kind of like slime dots. And Common Core and Learning Standards are pretty much the same thing. They're both guides, they're both goals, they're both given themes and lessons that you need to follow to make sure that your child or your student is on track to the next grade or to graduation. I recommend that you download both of these apps because one has more information than the other, and I'll show you why. So once you get these downloaded, so OH Standards, which is the yellow, and then Common Core, which is the green, we're going to click on one. So we're on the Ohio OH, so New Learning Standards. So you're going to go to Standards. You have mathematics, language arts, history, social studies, and science. So all of the lessons, the classes, so we're going to go to, I like language arts. So you have kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way to 12th, which is the same for math, history and social studies, and then science. So this app that I'm showing you now is the one that I use the most because it has kindergarten through 12th grade. So I'll show you what the standards look like. So let's go back to language arts. So I'm going to show you the difference because you're going to notice a big difference from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. So let's go to kindergarten. So you have a list of all your standards. And I'm going to explain a little bit of what these mean because you're probably like, what does RLK1 mean? So you're going to click the first one. So we have reading literature. So R means reading, L means literature, the K means kindergarten, and the number 1 means the first standard in this unit. So reading literature, key ideas and details. So you're mainly going to look at this. With prompting and support, ask and answer questions about key details in a text. So what that means is you're reading a story to your child and you're going to help them with questions to answer about in your book. So probably you're reading a story about the 3 little pigs and you're like, so in this book, who was the bad guy? And you would look through and you'd point to the page and you're like, here's your 3 little pigs, and then who's this guy? And you're like, oh, the wolf, and he's the bad guy. So that's prompting and support. Corresponding college and career readiness, anchor standards. Read closely to determine what the text says explicitly and to make logical inferences from it. Cite specific textual evidence when writing or speaking to support conclusion drawn from the text. So that's pretty much this, but more fancy and in more detail. The standards are supposed to be broken down to easy to follow and for kids to understand. A lot of the times you're encouraged to show the kids what standard they're on, what standard's next, what standards that they've done, so it helps them also know where they are and where they're going. And then this is just a note on range and context for student reading, so it's just kind of more information. So as you see, it's RL, 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 and then you get to RI, which means reading, R, informational text. So I, kindergarten first. And then again, we're going to read this with prompting and support, ask and answer questions about key details in a text. So some of these are kind of the same, kind of different in their own little way. We have W for writing, SL for speaking and listening. So these are just your title, the grade, and then what number standard it is. And that's the same for everything. So those are your kindergarten. So if you go to a 7th grader, you're going to see that it's a little bit more in detail, a little bit more difficult because a 7th grader has more experience in reading than a kindergartner. So it says cite several pieces of textual evidence to support analyze of what the text says, especially as well as inference drawn from the text. So see, that's a little bit more difficult, but it's kind of the same concept, just with more detail. So you have reading, writing, and then you have language, and then it's the same for mathematics, science. You have earth, space, and science, earth, space, science, first grade, 1.1, which also is probably like part 1. So now you have an idea of this app. So this app, again, is my favorite just because it covers from kindergarten to 12th grade. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with this app. I just prefer this one better because it has all the grades, and I'll show you why. So in the Common Core, which is green with the little slime dots, you have your standards, resources, and mystery content. We're mainly focusing on standards. So you have your math traditional, math integrated, language arts, history, social studies, science, and technology. So as you can see from the other one, that one's more laid out, easier to follow for parents or homeschoolers, while this one's kind of based off of a teacher standards. So let's go to science. And as you can see, it's only 6th grade through 12th. That's why I like to use this one and the other one, because the other app goes all the way to kindergarten. So let's go to traditional. So then you see we have kindergarten all the way through 12th grade pretty much. So you have geometry, algebra, 4th courses, which is probably trigonometry, calc. So a good perk about this app is, say you want to go to 1st grade, and we're going to go to, so it says operations and algebraic thinking, which is nice because it labels so you know what these standards are. And you know these ones are number and operation and based in tens, measurement, geometry. So let's go to measurement. So we have, let's go to the 3rd standard. So we have measurement and data. So we have 1st grade measurement data B3. So tell and write time. Tell and write time in hours and half hours using analog and digital clocks. So what's cool about this one is up in this corner right here, you have this little kind of speech note thing. So if you click on it, you're able to type out notes. So if you're on the standard, you could be like, Jimmy is having trouble with understanding time, will need to come back and go over again. And then you save that, and then that'll be there anytime that you come past this standard. And then you can edit it. So you could also date it, say like, what's today's date? February 8th. And then you can come down to the bottom like, Jimmy finally passed this standard. Moving on. And then put the date, say this is in 2 weeks or in a few days. So let's make it Valentine's Day. Then you save, and then you know it's time to move on. Or you can leave your self notes, like you come to a standard that you don't quite understand what it's saying. So understand and apply properties of operations and the relationship between addition and subtraction. So you didn't understand that. So you can pull this down and write your words of this standard. You make it easier to follow for you and your students to understand. And then down below, it kind of gives you an example of what it's looking for. So this kind of gives you the basics of the standards. These are also on your phone. So when you're in a pickle and you kind of need a standard now because you can't quite remember what standard you're on, this is the perfect little cheat sheet that I like. I have it on my phone. I usually encourage anyone that's teaching or likes to make sure that your child or your student isn't on track. I like to encourage them to download these apps. They're very good. They're always up to date, even though standards have been the same for a few years because they don't really change. But if they do, they'll update on themselves so you don't have to worry about finding a new app. So OH standards, we got the yellow, Common Core, super easy, free, and a good cheat sheet to help and make sure that your student and your child is on track.
Well, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you're walking away with more information that you had when you first started this video. Hopefully now you can use those apps or the website to help you in making your lessons for your little ones. I hope you have a good day, and if not, make it a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!